We continue with our Meet the Athlete series, this time taking a look at the former Britain's strongest man and absolute powerhouse, that is Graham Hicks. Auntie Liz, Graham Hicks, one of the strongest men on the planet, but in the last few competitions he's not been performing to the level that we expect of someone so strong.
Graham Hicks is an enigma because Graham Hicks in the gym is like, man, this guy is strong. Graham Hicks then, when you take him to competition, it's like, Hicksy man, you know, and I love Graham. I so want to see him do well. But yeah, like you said, I mean, he was third place at Britain's Strongest Man. But as a former Britain's Strongest Man, he'll want better than that.
Yeah, he's someone that, you know, third place is great at Britain's Strongest Man, and Hicksy is getting these performances just kind of turning up. He's someone, though, that I expect more of.
When you take him to an international level competition, he seems to underperform based on what we know he's capable of doing.
I think that's the thing. You just know that he's capable.
Yeah, there's
been reasons, you know. He's had illnesses, he's had injuries, etc.
As well.
But I want to see him kind of grab it by the balls and show everyone what he can do.
We want an aggressive Hicksy at Worlds. So I do. I want to see it like roaring and steam coming off his head. He's not like that though, is he?
He's mellow and chilled, but sometimes you just want to grab him and say, come on Hicksy, you can do this, man.
Maybe someone should slap him before he goes on.
Right, let's take a look.
Anyway.
Right, let's take a look at Graham Hicks.
So as we already said, Graham Hicks is a former Britain's Strongest Man and he's competed at World's Strongest Man 6 times so far. In 2020, he finally made his first final, but unfortunately he picked up an injury in the first event.
Yeah, absolutely gutting to see him get to the final, and then unfortunately it was his bicep, wasn't it?
It was his bicep it was on a yoke. Yeah. Prior to his pro strongman career, Hicks used to compete as an under 105 kilo athlete, which is insane when you think he went up as high as 170.
Yeah, he's brought his weight down a bit more now. He looks a lot fitter, a lot healthier.
Chiseled.
But yeah, at 170, Graham Hicks at 170 is just like a tank.
He is an absolute tank, yeah, like a steamroller. Anywho, we've talked enough about Graham's physique and bad luck and everything else. Let's talk about the events for this year's World's Strongest Man to see how we think he can do.
So first event you guys know by now is the loading, and this is an event 10 years ago Hicksy was absolutely lightning at. As his career's progressed, he's not been quite as quick at these type of events.
We all slow down with age, Lozzie, but yeah.
I definitely do.
Yeah, I did long ago. 2012 World's Strongest Man heats, he was winning the loading race. He was always a very fast, dynamic athlete.
So yeah, age and injuries just reducing his ability on those type of events.
So he's had some okay recent performances, like at the World Open, he was 5th on the medley that included a farmers and tyre and a few other bits. 6th at this year's Britain's Strongest Man. I don't know, like he's got the ability to do very well, hasn't he?
He can pick up points, definitely.
Yeah.
So the deadlift should be a really good event for him. He's very, very strong when it comes to deadlifting. Deadlift over 1,000 pounds. He's deadlifted 1,000 pounds with an axle, which is just crazy. Yeah. Just needs to make sure he's on it for the competition. Sometimes a little bit slower in terms of the way he pulls, but he's got the ability to smash through all these reps on this deadlift ladder, essentially it is. It's the barrels that come in, gets progressively heavier. He can complete this and he can score big points.
Now the log ladder, if he is healthy, you would expect Graham to do extremely well. One of the few people capable of finishing the ladder, but of course at Europe's Strongest Man we didn't see that, what we expected and hoped to see.
Yeah, I mean, we were all expecting Hicksy to kind of blast through the log ladder at Europe's, and it didn't happen. He had a chest infection, he wasn't feeling it. And, you know, you can't really go based off that performance.
No.
But Hicksy should be on anyone's list for winning pressing events. Yeah. And he's been getting beaten at competitions by people I'd expect him to beat comfortably.
Yeah, well, there's been some funny... Well, obviously, the Britain's Strongest Man, they had the Viking press, and he really messed up not looking at the ref, listening to the ref. The year before at the World Open, where they had Padgate with just one pad in the middle, he really let it get to him.
He sometimes needs to just be more adaptable, I think, because he's got so much strength. It's just ridiculous. And he should be able to comfortably blast through all of these. If that's, you know, if you're not feeling super strong, focus on just being quick. He could get through 4 rapidly quick. The guy could probably one motion the first 4. He's so strong in the shoulders. When you watch him train, and I've had the pleasure of going up to train with Hicksy, there's no one stronger. You know, you train with him and it's just mind-blowing how strong he is. It's just making sure he gets it right on the day. But a log should be maximum points for Hicksy. Right, Conans.
Yeah, it's not the best event for Hicksy. He's not terrible at it. He's not great at it. We usually, obviously he didn't get to do it at Europe's Strongest Man. He pulled out. So it's usually Britain's Strongest Man where we see him do it. And there he's middling. I don't think he's going to win it. I don't think he's going to come last in it. Maybe 2, 3, 4 on a good day points he could pick up there.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think it's an event, you know, he doesn't enjoy it that much. Who does, to be honest? It's a horrible event.
With the weight loss, though, maybe he's feeling a bit more...
I think the most important thing is his chest is okay. Yes. That seems to be kind of holding on right now, and I think that's going to be important, that he feels good so he can get that air in and just push as far as he can. If you can't breathe on that event, it's going to be nasty.
Yeah, you're going to black out.
What's his throwing like?
He's not a bad thrower. Do you remember when we went up and trained with him and Mark? He's better than you two. But at an international level, he's had some up and down results. So like the Conan Circle, he's not winning the event, but he's definitely not going to come last on it either. I expect a mid-pack performance there.
Yeah, looking at his results, he is kind of mid-pack normally on this type of event. He's got power. Just needs to make sure you get it right, and it's one of those events you can pick up points because people do make mistakes. I've been in comps before where I've been against much better throwers and they've made mistakes, and it allows you then to kind of capitalise. It's not an event that everything is guaranteed on.
Now the stone off, Lozzie. If Graham performs to the best of his ability, he should definitely make a stone off. I don't see him winning a group, and that's because I don't think he's going to be seeded very highly in any group.
Yeah.
So he's going to have some really tough guys against him. He could make a stone off. If he does, we know he's capable of lifting very heavy stones. He's a decent stone lifter. But at that level, there are a lot of guys who could beat him as well.
So a lot of good stone lifters. I think you need to be in that advantaged position going in on the stones. I think a stone for reps suits him more than a run.
I do too.
To be quite honest, he's got the power to lift a 200 plus kilo stone, no problem. It's just making sure he gets it right and how's the conditioning. This is the only concern with Hicksy right now, with that kind of lingering chest infection that he's had. How's his fitness going to be? Now, the slower pace of Worlds will be good in that respect, but a lot of these events won't be good as well. They're kind of crushing down the diaphragm and the lungs with the carrying events, and a stone for reps, he could end up being against someone that's going to keep throwing that stone back and pushing him, and that's probably where he'll struggle more than anything. The power is there. I think, like we said, the log and the deadlift, he can get big points against anyone. It's just a couple of those other events he needs to be on a good day with them, really picking up maximum points for him on those events, and not doing what he's done recently and just kind of like underperforming a little bit. He needs to make sure he gets it right on the bankers, and then solid performances on the other events. He can definitely put himself in a position to be in a stone off.
Yeah. So I think we're both in agreement that his chances of making the final are iffy.
Yeah, I think he's one of those that's, like a lot of guys, to be honest, you know, he's got a chance, but it's not a guarantee.
No. Now, if he does make the final, the Fingal's finger is probably the worst possible start he could hope for. Now, we haven't seen him do it for years and years, I should point out, but when we did see him do it in 2013, he was last on this.
It doesn't tend to suit shorter athletes.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say he hasn't been working hard at it and he's improved. We saw Mariusz Pudzianowski struggle with this event for years, and he went away and worked hard at it and came back and smashed it. So anything is possible, but the results Hicksy's put in the past on this event, plus his build, don't necessarily equate to being great at this event. Deadlift, he can definitely pick up points. A fantastic deadlifter, as we've already said.
Yeah.
Just needs to make sure he's on it. And this is an event that if he does make the final, he will need to get big points, because some of the other events are not so good for him.
No, starting with the shield carry. So the last time we saw Graham do this was at the 2021 Europe's Strongest Man, and he was 8th there, which just isn't going to hold up very well in this type of lineup, is it?
Absolutely.
Then there's the max dumbbell, which is possibly, well, no, it definitely is his worst overhead event. He's such a good presser, but it's not a pressing event, is it?
No,
in the same sense.
Yeah, he has issues with the groin that stop him being explosive on this, so he's required to kind of almost strict press the dumbbell.
Yeah.
And when you look at the best dumbbell pressers, it's not a strict pressing movement. Hicksy would love a max log.
Of course.
Max log, obviously, is where he excels
or a
at.
Viking press, any type of log.
I think the log is where he kind of excels most on, but the dumbbell, he can do 120. But I can't see him doing much more than that, and in this competition I think he will need more than that.
The truck pull's also not a great one for him, Laurence.
Notoriously not been a good event in the past. It's an event he's done a few times at World's Strongest Man and he's never scored big points on it. So he needs to make sure he's working hard on this one.
I feel like a bit of a Debbie Downer, but Atlas Stones at this level as a run against the absolute best guys in the world, you wouldn't expect Graham to really be pushing them, would you?
No, I think to be fair, like Hicksy, if he makes the final, will be over the moon.
Of course,
he's only made the final once before and unfortunately picked up an injury straight away.
Yeah.
So he has to be going to Worlds, focusing on the group events, focusing on trying to make another final and being able to put a performance in the final. I think if he does that, he can relax, he'll feel good about himself, and it does take a bit of pressure if you kind of know you've got into that final. You can then enjoy it a little bit more, and I think that's the most important thing for Hicksy, is that he goes and enjoys it.
Yeah.
He's got all the power in the world. He needs to make sure he's fit and healthy, he needs to enjoy it, and he can be absolutely proud of himself. So Hicksy, one of the strongest men I've had the pleasure of training with, a good friend. I just want to see him at his best. I really do. Hicksy, if you watch this,
don't watch this.
Get yourself fired up and go there and do what you're capable of. We all know what you can do. It's just about getting there and giving 100%. We wish him the best of luck. Let us know your thoughts as always, guys. How can Graham Hicks do at World's Strongest Man this year? Like, share, subscribe to the channel, comment below, and we'll catch you next time.